Hey, black women. All right. So, I wanted to talk today about an episode I saw on one of my black news station channels I watch on cable, which is the Griot, right? So, the Griot, Eboni Williams was on. You guys, Pretty Black Magic talks about Eboni Williams all the time, right? So, but Eboni Williams had a sit-down, so-called check conversation between her and Iyanla Vanzant, or however you say that woman's name, right? And I didn't like it. And I'll tell you why. Personally, I didn't like it, and why Iyanla Vanzant, or whatever her name is, Iyanla, I don't care, right? She's full of shit, in a nutshell, okay? She is one of those black women that came out when I was a teenager, right? She came out along the same time as, people were getting to widely know Shahrazad Ali. And when Sister Souljah had written The Coldest Winter Ever, and she was doing promotion for her book, and, pretty much just a lot of stuff was going on at one time, right, in the 90s. So, and Sister Souljah was getting into a lot of trouble with Monsieur Bill Clinton, right? President Bill Clinton, right? So, anyway, this Iyanla woman, right? I know a lot of y'all may be into her show and thinking that she's for black women, but let me tell y'all something. Knowing from where she started, where she came from, all of the scandal that surrounded her name in the 90s, that lady is the biggest snake oil salesman going. Did you hear what I'm saying? Like, okay. When she first came out, right, she was hooked up with some Jewish dude. I forget his name right now. And she came out with a book. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was like Peaks and Valleys or something like that, right? And this whole book was a tribute to the so-called strength and resilience of black women. And it also was supposed to somewhat chronicleize or give like a montage of her life. Now, why she got into the controversy was because when she came out with this book, like most people do when they make books, is they go on these book tours, and it probably wasn't her idea to do this, but she was part of it. Like, they make up an image and a particular persona. This is all done in marketing, right? This is all part of what I've learned from Google certificates and everything else I've read or watched videos about on marketing. So they came up with this whole other person that is not truly who she was to sell books. So the scandal came out because before she got literally hooked up with these particular people who pushed her throughout America, pushing this notion of, you can be saved by her, and she knows how to get black women where they need to be. And all it does is start with the same idea and ideology that, what is that lady, Shahrazad Ali, started off with in her two books. The one for the black women, and she also had one for the black male. So anyway, as this woman went around trying to promote her book, and, everyone was so fascinated with this pull yourself up from your bootstraps type of book, and here's this woman who falsely has come into claim to fame by way of making people think that she actually lived out the values and the teaching of her book. Okay, here's the controversy. When she eventually got to sit down and do a few talk shows and a few newspapers picked up her life, they found out that, and this is no disrespect, this is just factual stuff, right? They found out that she was a public assistance recipient who was like one of your everyday project women that did not take care of her children, actually had a couple of cases on her daughter, really treated her daughter way worse than she did her son. Typical black woman shit that doesn't care about black women and young black girls, right? So this guy, this white Jewish dude she met, or that was part of her or whole book tour or whatever, he sort of cleaned her up. Cleaned up her image, cleaned up everything, even sort of did an incredible job of damage control, making all of her bad past disappear. I'm giving you this background so that when I begin to talk about the conversation she had with Eboni Williams, you need to have the backstory to know what the type of woman you're dealing with and why she always has her material predicated on policing black women only. Whenever, even when you watch her show, because I've seen it like 1 or 2 times, and whenever you see her show, no matter how much she calls herself scolding the black male, it always circles right back around to blaming the black woman or blaming the mother, and it's always the mom's fault, or it started in childhood, like when you go to therapy and you get an asshole who wants to try to blame everything on your mom, because fathers and males in a patriarchy are never held to accountability. So let me turn this off for a little while. So what has happened is when Eboni and her had this conversation about, again, something that does not exist. Black women, and I really wish you guys would stop doing this. Like, stop giving life to every type of term or slang that these black males who do not like you, hate you, come up with to disrespect you as an everyday part of your day use of language. Please stop doing that. Like, it really drives me crazy when I hear intelligent people use the term ratchet, because that is not the word you should be using. But of course it was created by an idiot group of people. They would use something that refers to a mechanical device or mechanism as a form of behavior or a descriptive way to describe a person who they do not like, when the word they're actually looking for is wretch. Not ratchet, wretch. Wretch has a real definition, as does the word ratchet. And I wish you would really stop doing that. Like, it's so disrespectful to yourself and to others to run around labeling and accepting and convincing others to call yourself derogatory terms that these black males have created about you to disrespect you. It is the most ignorant thing that I've ever seen. But anyway, so this Iyanla, she's talking to Eboni about Eboni's refusal to stand patiently and wait for some dusty to do things for her. If you watch that video, that interview, which I couldn't stomach, I couldn't get through, right? Basically, it's the same old thing. Whenever a black woman is assertive or aggressive, and she's intentional with her determination, and she shows that by being resilient, you could get things done without asking for handouts or waiting for somebody to do it for you, she's accused of being something that she could never possibly be, which is masculine. Okay? Now, again, that term, because it's a state of being, right? That is factual, that a woman could never occupy the space of, because she is not a male. Okay? Only a male can be masculine at all times, even if they want to be a woman. I can't pull a geneticist out of my pocket to explain to you that a man can never become a woman can never become a man, no matter how many surgeries they take, no matter how many drugs they take to morph their body into something it's not. So we won't go there, but you get the point of why I always try to stress women cannot be masculine at all. Never, ever. But people, when they want to insult you, due to your tenacity, can use that word to try to belittle you, mock you, and disrespect you. So this is what Iyanla did to Eboni Williams, right? Eboni Williams, with her fiery wit and her fiery self, which is what I love about this woman, right? She went on because this Iyanla chick asked her a question like, why would you have to wait? What are you waiting for? And she told her, she's like, what? She told her exactly her reasons why she's not waiting. She's not waiting to wait for anybody to give her the things, and she specified the things that she wants and feels that and knows she deserves, which is rightfully so, right? So then, in order for this Iyanla woman, and you could see it in Eboni Williams' face, she identified immediately when this Iyanla lady was trying to gaslight her and trying to redirect the conversation to basically save her face and, you know, give a method to the madness, so to speak, right? Because it was bullshit she was talking. So anyway, she immediately watched the interview, went and redirected the conversation to asking stupid questions that most people would have the general answer to the same way, because it's practical, makes sense, right? Whenever they start talking this divide and conquer conversation, that's always based off of common sense or the majority rule not scenario, right? So this Iyanla asked Eboni Williams about men in terms of her vulnerability, why she shouldn't be this disrespectful term of being masculine, meaning that she shouldn't be aggressive to go out, pursue the job she wants to be able to maintain herself financially all by herself. She should weaken herself, lower herself, to have to wait for another person who owes her no obligation and who she has to wish and wait on the chance of this person coming along and saying, yes, I believe in your dream and I'm here to share it with you, which is usually not how the world works or the way people work. So anyway, she goes on to ask Eboni, would she date a bus driver, right? So of course, when you're in those type of professional environments, or you're like Eboni, an anchor or a spokesperson for a show, you have to say the politically correct answer, which is yes, right? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Depending on what city you live in and the state you come from, that answer will be yes. And in some states, in some cities, that answer will be a resounding hell no, right? All right, I'm going to take two examples. If you live in Mississippi and somebody asks you, would you date and marry a bus driver? Your answer should be no. And the reason why is because the prevailing wage for a bus driver in Mississippi is not very good. Okay? Not very good at all. So you would still be struggling with this husband, whether you worked or did not work. So it makes no sense to marry someone or date someone that is going to keep you in poverty or set you back further in poverty, right? So she didn't want to go into that because, like I said, it's like an onion. It has many layers to it, right? So she didn't want to go into that. However, if you ask that question to me, living here in New York City within the state of New York, I would tell you most definitely I would date and marry a bus driver of my liking. And it probably wouldn't be a black male bus driver. It would probably be one of the Asian ones or somebody else. Even a European, different type of Asian man, like a Eurasian man, I'll even choose him, right? But I'm not choosing a white dude. So if you ask me that, yeah, you know why? Because bus drivers who work in New York City, who work for MTA or any of the other private bus companies of New York City, they make starting out anywhere from like, what is it, $70,000 to $120,000. Okay? So that's a lot of money in New York City. Now, I know those of you who don't live here think that everything white people do in New York City is the median for everyone else in New York City, when it is not. It is not. When you see those little videos of them living in teeny damn apartments in Manhattan and trying to make it seem like This is all they could afford because it's so expensive here. That's a bunch of bullshit. That all comes down to the fact that they want to live in a particular location that puts them in proximity to other white people the way they like to live. Now, that same money that they pay for that small apartment in Manhattan, they could get an incredible size apartment in the Bronx, Staten Island, Far Rockaway, parts of Brooklyn, and parts of Queens, right? So in every other borough, in certain parts, because boroughs are like everything else in this city, like depending on where you are, will determine the money you spend, what type of lifestyle you'll live, and the environment in the neighborhood and the community you'll be subject to. Okay, so after that, my answer would be yes if it was New York. If it was somewhere else, I would probably have to say no. Okay, so anyway, she went to try to make Eboni not feel bad, but have her have this overwhelming amount of sympathy and empathy for the pretty much broke bus driver outside of only a few other cities in America, right? So again, trying to push the message of if you're married and you have these men, you're going to be so much happier, and this is what life dictates you do. When we know that's not true. We know that for whatever reason, this country, besides capitalism and exploitation of black women, find a strange need to be overly involved in who we have sex with as black women, who we get into relationships with as black women, and what we do with black males who are steadily taking us out of this world by black femicide that they choose to turn the other way to. So we as black women, when we understand that, we don't look to people like Iyanla or whatever, however the hell you say her name, as any type of role model, any type of black woman you should model yourself after. Because if you really look this woman up and you really look up how she had a horrible marriage, she had cases in New York City for her kids, and she really did her daughter foul, that's not a woman you need to be taking advice from. Am I saying that because people make mistakes in their lives and they change later on that you should never listen to anything they have to say? No. But you know what? I've always been a person where I know, because I base it off of people I've seen in life and how I tend to do things as well. Like when you're a decent person, you're a decent person from the beginning to the end. Usually when you do that transition thing from being a grimy piece of shit, can't be trusted, will always throw another person under the bus for the smallest amount of money, and anything you could do that you feel is going to put you in a better position than the next black person, you're not somebody that I give any real credibility to. And that is exactly who I think, and from what I've read about this woman and what I saw in the newspapers and the whole controversy about her in the 90s, know this woman to be. Okay? So I would not listen to anything she has to say. And when I look at her show and I look at how she always has this double standard for her level of scolding and correction that is always overly addressed to the woman, the black woman, but when it comes to the black male, she may yell and scream like she's talking to a child, but she really doesn't go in on them the way she goes in on the black women. And then she finds it necessary to always try to police black women back underneath the rule and the thumb and the rule of black males, which is what her predecessor did, that Shahrazad Ali lady, in trying to make black women think that we don't have no value if we're not somebody's wife, don't have a whole bunch of kids in the house we can't take care of. And if some dude's not punching you upside your head or knocking your teeth out, you're not worth anything. So when that woman was having that conversation with Eboni Williams, I listened in disgust because the whole thing was once again to reiterate to black women that you need to be put in your place. You need to be held down. You shouldn't be out here listening to people like me and others who are telling you, no, push harder, do more. Get away from black males, separate yourself from them, stand up against black femicide, do everything in your power to bring attention to that. Sign the petition, come out to the march, yell about it in your own communities, reach out to your representatives, tell them that this is an issue. Go on my page, scroll down the post on the community page, find I think I put the link up. Go to the link for the White House. Go to the links on there. Make the complaints to everyone on there, the Department of Justice, everybody about black femicide, FBI. Let your voice be heard. Let them know that we're tired of living like third-class citizens when we're doing all the damn work in the black communities. And we're the ones out here being treated like we're less than nothing because people get on the internet and talk about us like a dog and they create a worldwide propaganda. Hold on. They create a worldwide level of propaganda against us where people feel like, they should think twice about allowing us to rent their properties, employing us, allowing us to be part of the team, etc. All of that comes with these people bad mouthing us. And these idiotic women like Iyanla, whatever the hell her name is, always trying to talk down on black women and always trying to subtly police us into being someone's living property. I don't know about you, but I really don't want anyone telling me what to do or giving me expectations of what I can't do in life because of what I am, what I look like, or that I'm just a black woman based off of their anti-blackness, It's just too aggravating after a while, but I wanted to speak on that because when I saw that interview, I actually was upset. I wanted to, take a clip, but then if I took a clip, didn't want to take the risk of being given a copyright and having the whole video taken down because YouTube is really on this new trying to block everything that you have access to under the fair use law, but they just knocking down everything. But listen, I think black women, for you to come out on top of all of these obstacles that are put in our way and these wars that are being waged against us, is for you to just stay vigilant about safeguarding yourself and protecting yourself and your children. Like, do what you have to do to make sure your money is always good and you're able to do whatever it takes to upgrade your resume and your skills so that you can increase your pay you're bringing home. You remember, guys, I used to always say that. Increase your take-home pay. You got to do that. And as far as the violence out here that these people are coming at us with, don't let that scare you. Just walk out here with everything you need to protect yourself. And if you have to do something to someone, then you carry it through to keep them from doing something to you. And go on and live your life. You could be vigilant about making adamant change in this society for black women and little girls while having a great life and having a good time every day. Okay? I've also noticed that there have been quite a few male supposed, these fake male dating coaches and life coaches, right? Trying to convince black women that there's a weakness within us where we're walking around depressed, right? Now, if there was some type of news article that may have said that a year ago or maybe even this year, just because it's in the newspaper doesn't mean it's true. Okay? And because some black guy on YouTube who's probably trying to gaslight you is telling you that, you know, the majority of people out here are depressed, that's why they're angry and this, that, and the other thing, that's not true either. And 9 times out of 10, it's a crock of shit that they're trying to pull over on you to get you to continue tuning into their channel to make sure that they receive a check from YouTube. And that's all that's about. I'm very serious, okay? I haven't been wrong on this stuff yet because, I mean, the fact that you guys don't take what I'm saying as a matter of fact or to the heart is your prerogative, but I know a piece of trash when I see one, all right? I've been around a long time and I've seen a lot of different people do grimy things for absolutely no reason. They just do it because they can, right? There are too many of them, too many black ones, women and guys alike, on YouTube doing that to black people just to exploit black people. And the crazy part is they're not even getting anything really out of it. Not really. Like, the day is coming when this too will be a thing of the past, like many other things that are already going, right? And instead of these people realizing that and trying to set up things to do better in the future, they sit here and they try to bleed this one thing dry at the tearing down, dysfunction, and detriment of black women and young girls. And it is so sad. Like, seriously, like, it's insane. It's insane. The video I put up the other day is just a small percentage of the daily degradation and just hostile environment that YouTube creates for black women and young girls on this platform. And because they can hide behind an entertainment law 230, you know, giving them the right of a certain amount of free speech, they let people go crazy. And they only do it because black women are not sticking up for other black women. All of us should be literally outraged. We should be worrying about ourselves, not the content creators, right? And we should be making complaints about YouTube and those content creators talking trash about black women and little girls every day to make it stop, to regulate these people, and to put into the world that they know there's going to be a level of respect that you have for us. And you're not just going to be able to do any damn thing you feel like doing to us whenever you feel like doing it, even though you have people like Iyanla, Vanzant, and whoever else trying to tell you out here that you can, when you're going to learn the hard way that you cannot. Because every black woman is not going to be like the one that was in the end of that video I put up the other day, who doesn't know how to hand you your ass back to you. Okay? Every black woman is not going to be like her. Okay? And you will learn that eventually the hard way. Because at this point, because black women don't speak up for each other the way that they should, and they're way too over male identified, and they don't understand that the power is in the black women coming together. That's the only way you're going to get your power in every aspect of everything that's going wrong in this society, right? That's the only way people will stop looking at you as if you are an easy win. I'm telling you. You know, I saw a documentary today that is on iTunes, right? And it's called Documentary Deconstructing Karen, right? And this whole time, this documentary is about a black woman and an Indian woman trying to convince white women that they need to take down the patriarchy. Now, they are going along the premise of only white people can stop racism. I know you've heard that plenty of times across YouTube, because I have as well. Well, I'm a person that doesn't believe that to be true. I know for a fact that when different groups of people who have a vested interest in protecting their people or something that is valuable to them, when they get together collectively and then unite with other groups who have collectively gotten together, that is how you dismantle the patriarchy, you can dismantle supremacy, you can dismantle American racism, you can dismantle anything by doing it that way. Because what happens is you use the old adage, the majority wins. Okay? And since people of color literally are the majority, right? You win by default. But you're going to have to put in the work in order to win. You can't just win because you feel like you want to. And the reason I brought up that documentary, goes back to what I was saying about how black women need to start getting into the mindset and the practice of taking care of one another, looking out for one another, and doing the one for all for one type of thing. So when you have these platforms that are disrespectful to black women, all of us, with the exception of one of us, should get off of those platforms. Never go back to those platforms, and let those platforms go into financial ruin. Shut them down. Just shut them down. Because they only thrive and live because you are giving them the ability to have life. You're giving them life by viewing their page, donating to their page, and sharing and secondhand speaking about their page. If you stop doing all of that, they will literally fade away into oblivion. And then all of the power that they have to influence and socialize other people to be disrespectful of you will start to dwindle. And then you know what will happen? People will begin to respect you because you are doing the very thing that they all think that you do not have what it takes to pull it off. Okay? So you've gotta do that. All right? You have got to do the sticking together to prove to people that you can be a powerful force that can dictate and yield that power to determine what happens for black women and little girls in the future. You got to understand that. I mean, and it goes beyond one of us thinking this one is better than that one, when it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with all of us living lives that are going to be comfortable and compatible to who you personally are. That's what it really should be about, and that should be the main focus and the main goal, right? If you're making a decent amount of money, you can live life without having to worry about compromising yourself and anything that you have going on in your life for another person, because you cannot financially make all of your commitments without someone else assisting you. So if you understand what I mean by that, I mean, when black women come together, they get a solidarity. You could put the pressure on lawmakers for a wage increase. You could put the pressure on them for decent, affordable housing. You could put the pressure on them for changes in the law to rapid evictions that only affect black women. You could put the pressure on them for better schools. You could put the pressure on them for everything. But you will only get respect and be heard if you do it collectively. You can't have one or two people screaming. You got to have huge numbers to make them realize that those are the votes that will be used against them. That's what you got. That's why you got to do it. And that's it in a nutshell. But to end this video, I want y'all to understand we're doing good. Just today, I was approached 3 times by some dusty characters who got shot down with great enjoyment on my part, right? And it's going to become an everyday constant thing because we're getting ready to go into summertime. So now they're going to be looking for the black women they could hump on in the summer and make them feel good because it's hot outside and she's literally some new pussy they could take advantage of. Don't give them the satisfaction. Stand your ground, man your station. Do not let these people get the best of you. All right? You stand up for what you have to stand up for that benefits black women and young girls, and to hell with everybody else, because they're not going to care about how things affect you if they're worrying about what benefits them. So do the same. Do the damn same. And keep in mind that we live in a very anti-black world, and that includes a lot of people you would never think would be that way, but they are. So always keep that as your focus too, and part of your goal, to know that when you're looking out for yourself and other black women like you, don't ever think you got all these supposed allies that I hear certain content creators saying that you have, when they know for a fact you don't. Because that's just going to be a way to throw you off course, and to have other people intercept what you're trying to do and sabotage you, derail your whole situation, mission, your accomplishments, and put you right back to zero. Okay? Listen, black women, summer is coming. Use the time that you're going to have extra energy and good weather to go on out here, get a side hustle, different things to help you increase that take-home pay, and whatever it is else you want to do that you've been longing to do. Focus on you, center you, and forget trying to be politically correct when it comes to how aggressive you need to be to get what you want out of life. And dismiss people like Iyanla, Vanzant, and the rest of them who want to indoctrinate you with that Shahrazad Ali mentality and philosophy. You don't need that. Black women, we fought hard to come out of slavery just to turn around and let some men who are underperforming, taking our lives every 4 to 5 hours, rule us like they're the modern day slave master? I don't think so. Don't fall for that trash. All right, y'all, have a good day. I'll see you next time.